Welcome to Home Field Advantage, SFA's only home for sports nationally, locally, and on campus. I'm your host for the day, Bobby Morrow. Today, we'll be going over the exciting weekend in college football, the quarterback situation in Dallas and Houston, should MMA be allowed on college campuses, the tight MLB playoff race, and we'll have one of the nation's top wide receivers with us in studio, and more. You won't want to miss what's next on Home Field Advantage. The New York Mets clinched the National League East on Saturday with a 10-2 win over the Cincinnati Reds. It's the team's first divisional crown and first playoff run we've seen the Mets in since 2006. With the acquisition of Yoenis Cespedes and his MVP-like performance at the plate, combined with the second wind of Curtis Granderson and the return of longtime Met David Wright. Coming from being NL underdogs, the Mets are considered a nightmare matchup and are championship-bound.
Tensions are rising in a very competitive AL West division. The Houston Astros fought for playoff contention this weekend against the Texas Rangers, where they split the series 2-even. Rangers are leading the division by 2.5 games ahead of Houston. However, this is not only a two-man race. The Los Angeles Angels trail a lukewarm Astros team by only half a game, making the Astros' 3-game series at Seattle detrimental to their playoff hopes.
The hype for the Utah Utes might be real after they traveled to Eugene, Oregon this past weekend and came out not only as winners, but handed the 13th-ranked Ducks their worst beating since 2003. The 62-20 rout of the former national championship contending Ducks hands Oregon their second loss in September, the first time that has happened since 2004. The Utes, an 11-point underdog coming into the game, were led by quarterback Travis Wilson, who put up 327 total yards with 5 combined touchdowns. The Utes plan to extend their undefeated season next week when they take on Cal at home.
The college football season is still young, but there is already a clear Heisman's frontrunner. Leonard Fournette, the unstoppable running back at Louisiana State, has dominated every aspect of the running game thus far, averaging a whopping 8.6 yards per carry. Fournette has run for 631 yards in only 3 games. This past Saturday, he became the first player in LSU history to rush for 200-plus yards in 2 consecutive games. Fournette has racked up 8 rushing touchdowns in 3 games this season. Compare that to last season, where he earned 10 rushing touchdowns all year. He'll look to continue his spectacular season this Saturday at Eastern Michigan.
The Houston Texans clinched their first win of the season Sunday against the Buccaneers. A strong running game led to the Houston's 19-9 victory over Tampa Bay. Alfred Blue, who has struggled thus far this season, came in clutch for the Texans with 139 total rushing yards and a touchdown. The Texans scored the first touchdown of the game in the first quarter when Ryan Mallett threw a 5-yard pass to DeAndre Hopkins. The Buccaneers scored once during the game as a result of an interception thrown by Mallett in the second quarter. However, the Buccaneers were shut down for the rest of the game, and Mallett threw for an impressive 228 yards. The Texans walked away with a W and will go on to play the Atlanta Falcons this Sunday in Georgia.
The Dallas Cowboys fell short to the Atlanta Falcons 39-28 during Week 3 of the NFL play. The Cowboys started out strong with a 14-7 lead in the first quarter. Joseph Randle was responsible for both of these touchdowns. The first one was scored off a 37 rush yard in the zone. Randle then rushed 1 yard up the middle to claim the second touchdown for Dallas. Darren McFadden came through in the second quarter with a 2-yard touchdown to give the Cowboys a 21-7 lead. The Falcons answered back with a touchdown after backup quarterback Brandon Weeden threw his first interception of the game. That disrupted his 16-for-16 pass completion streak and gave Atlanta momentum going into the second half. The Cowboys went on to score one more touchdown by Randle in the second quarter before they were shut out by the Falcons in the entire second half. The final score was 39-28. The Cowboys will play again next Sunday at primetime against the New Orleans Saints.
The Lady Jacks soccer team has earned the NSCAA Team Academic Award for the 6th consecutive year. With a 1-7-1 record, these ladies have a reputation for putting teams on their toes, which is exactly what they did Friday against the Corpus Christi Islanders. Both teams were scoreless in the first half, but the Lady Jacks came out hot in the second half. Within 45 seconds of the second half, Madison Hall scored her first goal of the season, putting them on the board. They were able to force 2 more goals, which were both scored by sophomore Amanda Doyle. The Islanders weren't able to retaliate, and the SFA Lady Jacks celebrate a 3-0 win. The next, the Lady Jacks go up against Lamar, who has a 6-5 record. The game will be hosted at Lamar at 7 p.m. this Friday.
The Lumberjack football team is struggling this season with a 0-4 record. SFA fought a very hard battle Saturday night against Abilene Christian University, but ACU took the win with a final score of 35-32. Joshua West was the highlight player of the night for the Jacks, with 133 rushing yards, 12 carries, and a touchdown. This marks the second year he has had 100-yard rushing performance. Justice Liggins, Aaron Piper, and Robert Sylvester all contributed to SFA points Saturday night. Hopefully, the Lumberjacks can bounce back in the annual Battle of the Piney Woods against Sam Houston at NRG Stadium at 3.
When we come back, a closer look at the world of MMA. We'll have Aaron Thomas in the studio with us, and later we'll have a panel about everything sports. You won't want to miss it. Stay tuned to Home Field Advantage. Welcome back to Home Field Advantage. One of the most athletically tasking sports on earth, mixed martial arts, is not an official collegiate sport. Our own Philly Galindo and Crystal Hickman talked to local MMA fighter Brian Morales about the issue.
With the increasing amount of universities allowing the teaching of martial arts, several SFA students are encouraging official classes on campus. One of those students is Brian Morales.
I studied Shotokan Karate, which is based in Okinawa, Japan. I studied for the past 6 years. It is the main martial art that I studied in.
In high school, Brian's ROTC drill sergeant trained him after class for 3 hours, 3 days a week. He later practiced Shaolin Kung Fu in Houston and even grew to admire nunchucks.
I personally fell in love with them, and it's very cliche. It was because of Bruce Lee. It was because of the movies and stuff, the way he would move them fast enough. I'm nowhere compared to how he was able to use them. All the flashy moves that people might do in, like, on YouTube, or on TV, those are impressive. They're very impressive things. But, the way Bruce Lee used it was more efficient.
With so much that he has learned from martial arts, Brian has become a teacher to those willing to learn and practice. However, he does have a certain expectation, not just from his students, but any student on campus that would possibly join SFA martial arts courses.
I don't want to teach anyone who wants to learn how to kill someone or punch someone in the throat, for example, an extreme that makes me look bad, that makes the idea of what a martial artist is look bad, and it is also a dishonor to my sensei and my lineage of what I've been training.
Although he is careful in choosing his own students, Brian keeps an open mind when it comes to universities hiring professionals in martial arts. He encourages official courses mostly because of the reason he took on martial arts.
The idea of incorporating martial arts to universities or even to public schools, it's a good idea. It's a great way for people to be active. It's not just self-defense. It's not just fighting. It's not just training. Physically. It can also be great for your health. For your well-being. I got into martial arts because at first I got into it because of bullying. I wanted to defend myself. As the years went on and I stayed in it and I trained in it, I learned what it truly meant to be in martial arts and to train martial arts. And it's gotten to the point where it's second nature to me. It's part of my life. It's a lifestyle in a way. And incorporating into university, whereas it's a place for the youth, for people to find themselves, to grow who they are as a human being, it would be a really creative alternative to helping people discover that self-identity.
At SFA, I'm Crystal Hickman with Home Field Advantage.
Welcome back. I'm Maddie Kaufman, and today I'm joined by Stephen F. Austin's very own Aaron Thomas. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, since we're a sports show, we're talking about football today. So, what made you join SFA football?
Well, SFA was one of the only schools that gave me a chance. I didn't have any scholarship offers. out of high school. I got talked to by a couple of small schools, but I wanted to play Division I, and SFA gave me a shot. I had a coach who used to play here and coach here, so he got me into contact with the coaches here, and they gave me opportunities. So that's why I came here, just because they're the only ones that gave me a shot, really. So.
Okay. I understand that you were a walk-on at the time, so I'm assuming you're not a walk-on now. But so what was the transition like from being a walk-on to a scholarship athlete?
I earned a scholarship my freshman year, in the spring of my freshman year, and really I try to approach everything like I did back then. So not much has changed, honestly. I try to be the best I can be in everything that I do. It hadn't been a huge transition. It's just been getting to know and getting to feel the program out when I was a freshman, and then now I just try to be a leader and try to be the best I can be. So.
Awesome. So this is your last year.
Yeah.
Right? You're done. Are you ready to go?
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of bittersweet.
Oh, definitely.
There's been a lot of great things that have happened to me here, and I'm just really thankful for all those opportunities. It's going to be sad. It's going to be a lot different whenever football's not a part of my life, but I'm trying to make the most out of the last 6 games. So
definitely.
Speaking
Speaking of that, how do you feel about the season so far?
Well, we hadn't had the best start. Everybody knows that 0-5 isn't ideal for anybody, and it's definitely not where we expected to be at this point in the season. We had high hopes for this team, and we still do. I mean, we still think we're a good team. We've only lost 5 games, and 3 of those have been by 6 points or less. And so, we have high hopes for the rest of the season, and we're just going to keep pushing. Keep figuring out the team who's going to be the playmakers, and so.
Yeah, as long as you do what you need to do to better your team. I get that. So speaking of football, I understand that this past summer you got married.
Yeah.
To a really big, I guess, sports fanatic. Tell us more about that. Her name is Addie Jane. Her brothers are Jackson and Jordan Shipley that were, part of the football team at UT. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. Well, we grew up together. I was best friends with Jackson all growing up, and I always had like a little crush on Addie. They moved whenever we were in high school, so the only reason I ever really stayed in touch with them was because of Jackson. And then whenever we got to college, somehow me and Addie started talking a little bit more, and then it turned into something more than that. And I was a little worried about what Jackson would think at first, but he loves it.
That's awesome.
And so it's been really good.
So y'all met whenever y'all were little?
Yeah, we met when I was in 2nd grade, so I've known her for a long time.
For a really long. So y'all weren't high school sweethearts or anything?
No. Yeah, we just figured it out in college. We did long distance for probably a year and a half or so, and that was tough, but that taught us a lot. And then she transferred here, then we got married in May, and it's been awesome. It's been a learning process, but it's been really great. So
that's awesome. So I heard that the wedding was kind of like the weather wasn't.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
So I'm sure that the wedding part of it, all your friends and family there, everything was perfect. But tell us about the weather. What happened?
Yeah. So we had this outdoor wedding plan, this
I bet it was beautiful.
big extravagant deal, and then a cold front came in at the end of May. It was like 68 degrees one day, and actually we were at my bachelor party. We were supposed to go on the lake. It was 68 degrees and rain, and we couldn't do that. And then the day of the wedding, we had a 100% chance of rain. The wedding was at 6. It started raining about 4, and it didn't stop. There was a tornado about 5 miles away. It was crazy. It was probably the worst weather you can think of for a wedding, but we still had an awesome time.
I heard I had a lot of friends. Yeah, I heard it was a really nice wedding anyway, and that's weddings, family together, friends and family love. It's just, I bet it was beautiful. So
it was awesome.
How is it juggling? I know you're in grad school now. How is that juggling grad school, being married and D1 football? How is all of that?
It's a lot, but it's awesome that I have the opportunity to do all of those things. School, I figured out how to juggle school and football pretty easily over the last few years. And adding a wife to it's really just a bonus because she gets to, go through things with me. She gets to be there to support me. She gets to be there to cook me meals when I get home from practice. So it's good. It's been awesome. I think we're getting our schedules figured out, I'm getting the balance figured out, and then, just taking it day by day, and that's all I can do really. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if you heard about the UT game. What have you talked to Jackson or Jordan about it? About what they feel?
No,
about
I haven't. Jackson was a part of the first year Charlie Strong was there last year, and he just said there was a lot of transition going on there.
I bet from Mac to
it's just a big transition, and I think I haven't talked to him much, but I think that program's just trying to figure it out. But I mean, when Jordan was there, it was great for them. They had Colt McCoy, Jordan Shipley. Everybody knows that combination, so they had an awesome time there, and they'll always love Texas no matter what. So.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's all the time we have. Thanks for coming to join us today. Coming up, we'll have a group discussion about what's happened this week in sports. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Home Field Advantage. I'm your host, Bobby, and joining me now in the studio, I have John and Lathan. Now's the fun part of the show. Now is when we have our debate portion.
Ooh.
You guys ready for this?
I'm so ready.
All right. Well, let's get started then. First up on the ticket, we have SFA's own Gus Johnson on the Cowboys again.
Yes.
How do we like that?
I'm excited. I was really shocked at the end of the preseason that they didn't sign him as a second string or maybe even a third string
Absolutely,
back.
yeah.
He completely showed out during the preseason.
He did.
Second game, he had 2 touchdowns first half.
Yes,
I was
sir.
blown away. I love Gus, but I honestly didn't see that out of him. But with the Dallas Cowboys offensive line, I'm a fool for not believing in him.
I seen it in him when I seen him play here. He made some big plays here.
Oh my goodness, he
including,
threw.
everybody remembers the hurdle from last year.
Oh, yeah.
Going
Oh,
out.
yeah.
That was a great hurdle.
You know, that first touchdown he had in the Cowboys uniform, what's he throw up the first time?
The axe.
He throws up the axe
baby.
in his first touchdown in an NFL uniform.
Way
I like
to
that.
represent Gus
I like
Johnson.
that. You know what?
Axe and Jack.
To a long future in the NFL for him. I think if he sticks to it, which, I mean, he's going to, I think he's got a future. I mean, he showed out, like you said. He's going to do great.
Yep.
Speaking of Gus Johnson and SFA football, this weekend, Battle of the Piney Woods against
About to go
Sam
down.
Houston State at NRG Stadium at 3 o'clock.
Sam Houston State is great this year. They
They
lost
are.
to Texas Tech, but not by that much.
Yeah, they almost beat Texas Tech.
And that brings up some scary images for me because we saw what Texas Tech did this weekend against TCU, and
absolutely.
SFA had quite a bit of trouble handling TCU week 2.
I'd say quite a bit of trouble.
I could say that. But respected those guys. Before the season even started, I was ready for the Battle of the Piney Woods.
Oh, absolutely.
Going down to Houston and watching that game in an NFL atmosphere.
The environment,
oh my
the
goodness,
environment.
gets my hands
Yeah.
itching.
Oh, you can't get a better environment than that. Especially with the tailgate going on, everybody's down there. It's just great.
So many alumni in Houston go to Sam
Oh, it's
Houston.
amazing. All right, so I know it's our team versus that other team,
That dreaded
but
orange.
who are you taking here? And let's try to be unbiased here. All right,
I'm going to have to go with Sam.
you gotta go with Sam.
Their rushing attack is too great.
Yeah, they're
they get
ranked.
on a hot start and they don't stop. They just keep rolling and rolling and
Yeah,
rolling.
they've got that going for them. What about you, man?
I see SFA's defense coming in a little bit more clutch. I do not think that Sam Houston is going to put up the points that they did in prior weeks. But I have to go with SFA. I'm an SFA guy.
Absolutely.
I believe that this coming week they're playing with more of a determination, coming in and
absolutely.
saying, the rest of the weeks, they don't matter. It's the past. We're not playing for the past. We're playing for this week. And Sam Houston State, we haven't hit them hard in the past. I believe we're going to punch them in the mouth this weekend.
I hope they
I will
do.
say this. I hope it's going to be a good game, low scoring, good defense, and it's just going to be, I'm hoping it's just going to be a good game.
I believe it will.
Now, there was also, we were talking about Tech and TCU earlier.
Oh, yeah.
What about that game? That was a college
ESPN
football
Classic.
game. ESPN Classic for sure.
If you are a football fan, NFL, overseas, college football, that game gets your blood pumping.
Oh, as a red-blooded American, you betcha.
And they're Texas teams.
Oh.
You got two Texas teams battling it out, offense versus offense, down to the wire. And then you get your Mesquite, Texas native, Trayvon Boykins, ending the game with a prayer. The tipped pass.
He's trying to make his case for Heisman. He's for sure making his case for Heisman. I like him. He's coming out with a vengeance. It's championship or bust for them, really, to be honest.
Hey, man, and at the end of their year last year, I was
Heartbreaking.
They was
I was
hurt. They
upset.
felt like they deserved to be in it.
I believe that
I
they
think
did
they
too.
did. I think they should have been there.
Yeah, well, Ohio State did do good, though.
They did.
All right. Now, we'll move on to those Cowboys now.
The Cowboys.
They had a pretty good game this weekend.
No,
Brandon Weeden.
No, they didn't. Don't you say that.
Brandon
No.
Weeden.
Now, hold on. Let's talk about Brandon Weeden first. He started the game 16 for 16.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Then threw an interception, a horrible interception.
And
He
it
should have
seems
thrown it away.
this seems to happen every single time that they cut to commercial with a quarterback on their side. Oh, Brandon Weeden, maybe he may contest, Romo for a starting spot when Romo gets back. He looks great. He hasn't made a mistake yet. Stop it. As soon as he comes back, the first time he's flushed out of the pocket, makes a terrible decision, throws a completely overthrown ball, passing Jason Witten, interception, and the pace of the game has changed for the rest.
Yeah.
They got outscored 22-0 in the second half.
Julio Jones.
And
Yeah.
Julio
Devontae
Jones.
Freeman,
Yeah.
Florida State running back, by the way, who got some national championship ring.
Yeah.
They couldn't stop him. They bunch of missed tackles in the end zone, just a whole missed tackles. Terrence Williams dropping a slant.
Oh, that
He's a
was
pro.
terrible.
You're a pro.
You're a
Go catch the
receiver.
slant.
Your job.
Snag, you in.
You're a receiver. Your job is to catch the football. You know who is doing that? Julio Jones. I wonder
Yeah,
if the
God.
Cowboys will figure out a way to guard him before the man retires.
Let me tell you, after that game, first thing I did, got on my fantasy app and I tried to get Julio Jones. I mean, who wouldn't? Did you see the game he had?
Oh, my goodness.
Could you imagine having him on your fantasy team? You'd win every
Fantasy
week.
football is driving my
Whoever-
hair straight to Graytown.
Whoever drafted him was praising the Lord. Okay?
Game-
Cowboys
yes.
secondary is trash, and they got exposed again. Julio went right up the middle.
I think his name is Wilcox, the guy who plays safety, number 24. I have not seen such bad tackling form, lunging, diving at tackles, getting shedded off of. It was Bush League. I can't believe that he's in the starting rotation. But then again, it's the Cowboys secondary.
This is getting heated. Now let's go to that other Texas team. Those Texans. Those Texans. Now, I know I am a diehard Texans fan.
Me too.
You are as well, and you.
I am not.
I was just about to say, judging from that last one, it sounded like you were a Cowboys fan, kind of.
I'm born and raised Dallas, but my team, I don't really know if y'all want to talk about them yet because this conversation will get way overheated.
Oh, no.
And that is the reigning world champions, the New England Patriots.
Okay, we're going to table that subject.
Yeah, for next time.
For next time. Let's go on with these Texans now.
Ryan Mallett, I believe in him. 229 yards, the game-winning touchdown. He throws to DeAndre Hopkins, who's the superstar receiver in his top
hands.
5 receiver in the league.
DeAndre's hands are just massive.
Last
You can
season-
throw it within 10 yards of him, he's going to get it.
On throws on target, he was number 1 in the league with accurate percentage.
Oh, I don't doubt that at
I
all.
will say this. With a receiver like DeAndre Hopkins, I feel like I could quarterback that team.
Anybody could.
I could throw the most meaningless Uncle Rico of a pass, and he will most definitely come down with it. Why? Because he is a reliable receiver. He is, a burst out of the backfield if you put him back there. He is an all-around great receiver, and he is young.
Now, this is all if he stays healthy. He had his concussion. He's already had his concussion protocol going on earlier this season. So we'll see if he can stay off the DL for a while.
One thing about the Houston Texans, though, that I like, Ryan Mallett, Big Tex. I am glad that he's back in Texas playing football.
I am a fan.
He has probably the strongest arm in the NFL right now. I don't know of anybody else who can throw the ball quite as far as him, honestly. If you've seen him sling that ball,
I like
it will go. And I see you disagreeing.
I disagree. Me, I'm not a Flacco guy, not at all. I'm not a Ravens guy, but I haven't seen somebody chunk the ball like Joe Flacco in a long time.
Yeah. All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. We'll be back next week with all the latest SFA local, state, and national sports news. I'm Bobby Morrow. This is Home Field Advantage.